What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. Special guest in the building, needs no introduction. Lee judges you dirty little. I won't say the rest.
Do you know what? Honestly, the people that message me asking them to do like messages with that saying there is incredible, like, you know, really. So
I'm telling you, it's famous.
Oh, I don't know about that, but like, yeah, it's gone crazy. The last few months, Curtis, have just been mad for me, like crazy, like, you know. So yeah, you know, there it goes. You dirty little, I'll get all that out of Simon. I didn't get Spurs, you know what I mean? Do you remember when Lacazette sort of, I didn't think it was more of a foul against him. And I had all my Spurs people messaging me going like, what do you reckon of that dirty Lacazette? Dear.
Legendary, mate. Legend. He's done it again. I think that's
He's done it again. That's the one I get like, you dirty bastard. I have to keep going right now.
I think you need to copyright that. I'm telling you.
I think I do. I think it's like become a bit of a catchphrase now. You know what I mean? And like, you know, like the memes people that do all those things.
Yeah.
You know, I've had it for the milkman. Like, you know what I mean? If someone's not done in their homework in on time, you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So, you know, but there you go. There you go.
Anyway, let's talk about the Arsenal's. Aston Villa game at the weekend. Obviously, we lost 1-0. I think the last time I had you on, actually, we was on a good little run, but we lost to Villa. Obviously, lost to Wolves in the week and drew to United. So now I think it's only one win in the last 5. What do you make of, first of all, the Aston Villa game on the weekend?
I was disappointed. I noticed all the supporters that were saying, "Oh, it's more important for the 3 points after us going out the FA Cup." All gone quiet now, like, you know. This is what can happen, you know. And I think momentum's a big thing in football. I think, you know, winning momentum is a massive thing, and I'm, you know, it'd been interesting because we did play well against Wolves, guys. If we'd have won that game, what would have happened in this game, you know? But after losing to Wolves, this was always going to be a tough game anyway. And then to give away a goal like we did in the first minute, and then do you know what? I'm disappointed with Mikel Arteta coming out and saying, "Oh, we bossed the game after that." Come on, you know. We're not, some fans might believe you, but the majority of the fans know that Aston Villa's game plan was to let that happen and hit us on the break.
Yeah,
if it weren't for Matt Ryan in goal, it probably would have been 3 or 4. So I don't like it when he continues to keep saying that. You know, you are the reason that you're giving all the possession away is because they're a goal up on us. You know, and when we do it, it's great, isn't it? You know, so I feel a little bit disappointed with what was said after that game. The fact of the matter is, we could still be there now and we wouldn't have scored. Yeah. We never looked like scoring. We didn't create too much. You know, like the decision making from our front players that's not Mikel Arteta's fault, by the way.
Yeah,
it's shocking. It is absolutely shocking. When we shoot, we pass. When we pass, we should shoot. When we should take on the man, we don't. Everything that you want, we're meant to be doing, we don't do it. And the decision making of those front 3 or 4 on this game particularly was very, very poor. Very, very poor.
I mean, Lee, I was looking at a stat. Do you know we've got the most expensive front 3 in English?
Yeah, I heard that the other day. It's the most expensive front 3 in the Premier League.
Yeah,
and it doesn't look like scoring a goal.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think? I mean, Aubameyang. What has happened to Aubameyang? One of the best.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what has happened to him. He has been awful this season, and it's now come to a stage where do you know what I'm going to say now? He'll probably play on Sunday, if I'll be honest. He doesn't deserve to. He doesn't even deserve to be anywhere near the team. He come on against Wolves. I didn't even know he was on the pitch. Now, if that was a Willian, the fan base would be going absolutely wild. You know what I mean? And then he comes on was Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
You know, didn't look like he could do anything. He's not one of these players, is he? And I'm not knocking him with this because he's a great goal scorer. I'm not, and last season's form was fantastic. But he's not one of these players that's going to pick the ball up like Thierry Henry, go past 3 players, drop off into the play, do sort of stuff like that. He's an off the shoulder, off the cuff sort of goal striker. You know, you've got to be servicing him.
Yeah,
and obviously we're not. So so that's down to the manager. We're not getting the best out of him. But also you have to have a look at his performances. His hold up play isn't good. And the way we're playing him is just not quite right. And I think that last season he was scoring goals left, right, and centre from the left. This season he's not, but definitely like putting him up front as the pivotal striker. He's not got no hold up play. Physically, not very, very strong. He is just ultimately a goal scorer, and I don't really know why it's all gone wrong in that department. But something's not right there, And then I look at Lacazette. He does everything but what Aubameyang does.
Yeah, the goal.
I watched him on the Villa game, and this is a player that's I would say, I think we would have to be, if we're going to be brutal about it, his position at the club's under threat. He's like contract running out, whatever. So let's see it, and he's on the periphery of it, like the holding the ball up and then not exploding, not wanting to get into the box, not wanting to score goals. If you know what I mean, and that's crazy. Like the ball whizzes across the box and he's, on the edge of the box, and you have a look at it, and it pains me to say it. Harry Kane, he gets on deep things, and when the ball goes into the box, he's in the box on the edge of chances. But Lacazette is nowhere near it. And so for me, I look at that and I think, I'm disappointed with him. And then, Pepe, I'm going to give a little bit of a leeway because I thought he's played well the last 3 games. Poor on Saturday. And as we've mentioned, Smith Rowe was poor. But again, you would give him forgiveness because he's done well. And Saka's probably had his worst game. But so you've got all of those forwards, and there's 5 of them. If I know like Saka didn't cost nothing and Smith Rowe, but they're worth a lot of money. If they were not on the market now, you know what I mean? Yeah. And none of them played well. None of them looked like scoring. And, you're talking like a lot of money if you was to buy one of them players or a little while ago.
Yeah.
And, shocking. They should be doing a lot better than. So you're going to get into the point then, is it down to the manager or is it down to the individuals? I think it's a bit of both.
I mean, because someone's saying here, and I have this conversation a lot. People say, look at the way Vardy's used. Vardy's hold-up play is maybe a little bit better than Aubameyang's, but not great. He's not that strong. But Leicester play a way that helps him. They get him in behind. They get him playing off the shoulder. Are we actually using Aubameyang the wrong way at the moment?
Well, that's a great point. That is a great point because, if you would say that Vardy's weakest point is probably his hold-up play, but he has got that blistering pace. Is he quicker than Aubameyang? Oh, probably is. He probably is, and they're both good finishers. But, I think that if you've got like, when you look at something like Vardy, and let's be honest about it. Some people go, "Oh, it's about the player and it's about the coach." Well, the manager before him never played him or hardly played him. I remember him coming on as a sub against Spurs for a penalty and missed that penalty, and he wasn't really getting the game time. Brendan Rodgers comes in, bang, plays him every game, and look what's happening. Yeah. So I do believe there is something in that, but then you've got to get. You've got to get a see. I don't really know what system Arsenal was starting to go with. There was some good signs against Wolves with the way we played in the first half, and then it peters out.
Yeah.
But I think, like with Vardy and what happens with other teams is, like, particularly against Villa, they drop deep, Curtis, so that you can't use that pace, in behind. So you have to have players then to create the little pockets for Vardy to get into things like crosses and all that. And that Leicester have got that, and they've got that in abundance with Madison. They've got it with Tinnemans. You know, they've got some decent midfield players. So I think that maybe the system ain't helping him, but I don't think we've got the midfield players that are firing the ammunition that he needs. You know, you have a look at Bellerin. You know what I mean? Like, my God, you know, he couldn't serve up McDonald's on a drive-through. You know what I mean? Unbelievable, like, you know what I mean? Like, his actual crossing.
Oh my God,
it's woeful. But you know, so there you go. Right, okay. But the manager plays him week in, week out, and the reason that things have gone a little bit there is because we've got nothing on the right-hand side, and we've lost Tierney on the other. But do you remember the game again? I don't know if it was Newcastle when Cedric was playing on the right, Tierney was on the left, and we was creating mayhem both sides.
It was.
But we're not doing that now. I'm not having a go at Bellerin because I didn't think he was a bad player on Saturday. But for creative side, he's not going to go past players and put in these stunning crosses. Mind you, Cedric probably ain't going to do that. But, you know, so we've lost our attacking angles down that side. And certainly, listen, it all went pear-shaped also when Partey went off. And
again.
Ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like that we're relying on a player. But everybody goes on about Partey as this great signing and everything like that, which is a great player, Coach. But I think, if I'm not right, he's probably played 10 games, lost 7. You know?
I mean, I saw he's only completed 90 minutes 4 times, I think. So
yeah. So the actual, you know, even though we're playing better with him, we haven't, he's, you know, not been as dominating as results-wise.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I will say this, that since he's come into the team, Xhaka's game's gone up. So, but there is some worrying signs at Arsenal at this moment in time. And I'll tell you this now, if you was a betting man at Arsenal, say if you was a betting man and I could give you £1 million, but you was only allowed to bet on Arsenal to win games and all that, you wouldn't have that £1 million for very long.
No.
You're all gone.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
You know?
I mean,
you just don't know what you're going to get. You just don't know what
you're going to get. I'm trying to look at the striker situation moving forward, because I saw a story today that Lacazette might be getting offered a new contract. Apparently, Arteta's been happy with him in training and his all-round game and stuff. There's also this story now that Man United apparently are talking to Balogun's agent about taking him in the summer. So I'm sort of looking at it thinking, well, you've got Aubameyang there, 300 grand a week. Lacazette might get a new deal, Balogun might go, or however that works out. Who do you see being Arsenal's centre forward next season?
Well, hopefully none of them. You know I mean,
you wouldn't want any of them.
Somebody else, you know what I mean? Like, listen, I think if you want to be really honest about it, Lacazette, I like Lacazette. I like his work rate. I like his industry. I like his honesty about being a striker. But if you want to go to the very top of the English game or Europe, he is not the answer. He's not the answer.
I agree.
But a good squad player and whatever, like, you know, is he going to be happy with that? Balogun, I think, has got all the potential to be a very, very good striker because he's got the physique, he scores goals, but obviously he needs a chance. Now, I can't believe Arsenal have not tied this guy up to a deal where they could have said to him, they say, right, we're going to sign you up to a deal now and we're going to put you on loan to a team for 6 months in, you know, so you get first team football. I just don't really see what's happening there, like, you know. And this is a little bit of a worry me with Mikel Arteta, that he seems to give Eddie chance after chance. He seems to give other players chance after chance, but the two players that, you know, a lot of people are, you know, Martinelli doesn't get the chances I don't think he deserves. And certainly Balogun's not been given the opportunity at Arsenal. Now, people will turn around and say because he's not signed a contract, and I get that, you know what I mean? But, you know, you have to look at it from his point of view as well. When I want to be given a chance, you know, and a chance properly, and he's not being given it. You know, people are saying, you know, there's a couple of players, you know, Jolovic at Frankfurt, that would be one I would look at. Was doing the business at Frankfurt before he went to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Maybe Eduardo at Celtic, but these are still gambles, Curtis. Why not gamble on a young kid that we've got in our ranks? That's my argument. Why not give him a chance?
Do you think Martinelli could play through the middle?
I think eventually he could.
Yeah.
I think, he's 19, 20. It's hard to ask a 19, 20-year-old to do that in the Premier League now. And I think if you look at people like Greenwood at Manchester United, I think he probably would eventually end up there.
Yeah,
but at the moment, they're keeping him in the wide areas, to do that sort of job. So I think that maybe long term that could be the answer. But you've got a difficult decision at the moment, like at Arsenal, because you've got Pepe that you spent £72 million on. Yeah. That if I'll be honest, Curtis, when Mikel Arteta sat down, I probably didn't think that Saka would end up on the right and being so good. Yeah. But that's what's happened. So now you've not got, he's a backup on the right, and is he going to be a backup on the left? You've got Aubameyang that wants to go down the left. You've got Martinelli that wants to play down the left. So you're sort of like overloaded there.
Yeah.
There is that position going, I think, up down the middle. Now, people are saying that Martinelli doesn't want to play that role, but surely if you're a kid or a player or whatever, I'd rather play that role than be on the bench all the time.
Of course.
So we'll have to wait and see on it. Why not give him the go and see it like, I don't think that you'll get the real deal quite yet, but I think, look, Thierry Henry started as a wide player and then look what we got from there. So, I think that, listen, someone like Nicolas Anelka was 19 and left the Arsenal line, you know what I mean? So, if Martinelli's going to be anything, then he's going to have to maybe this is the place for him to step up.
I think this guy here, D Solo, makes a good point. Do you think Arteta knows his best starting 11 when everyone's fit?
Good question.
Very good.
I don't think he does. I think the one problem I think with Mikel Arteta, and one thing, there's some things that he's done that are fantastically, I think, we've done really well on. And there's things that really I question about him. And one of the things that I question is favouritism. There's players in the team that shouldn't be in the team, but get in the team. Yeah. So when you say, do you know your best 11? He probably does, but I don't think it's his best 11.
That's not what he wants to play, is it? No.
Yeah. So that's where I would go down that route, where I would say that, I think that he knows what he wants to have, but it's certainly not the best players in those positions, because, I don't think Bellerin would be in my starting 11, if I'll be honest. Holding wouldn't be in it there as well. And probably, as I say, Martinelli would definitely have to get into my team somewhere along the line. Where it would be, I'm not so sure. But, and, like Xhaka seems to get a free pass more than certain players as well, even though he has played well the last few games. But he's had misdemeanours and done things that are not right. But he's been forgiven. And then I look at other players that have not been forgiven, So, as I said, and I'll say it now, the biggest and the most important thing for me on Sunday is what he does with Pepe, because he's had 3 good games, Curtis, and he had a bad game against Villa. Now, is he going to drop him or is he going to back him? So 3 good games, I think he deserves another go, but we're waiting and see what happens. So, and then if you are left out, you have, Pepe has only himself to blame because he didn't play well in the last game, but he must sit there and think, well, hold on a minute, like Bellerin's had 15 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's playing week in, week out. Willian, whatever way you want to talk about him and all that, whether he's been left out of the side or whatever, he's still getting him involved in the match days.
Yeah.
There are questions there, aren't there?
There are questions. Big up Bavs in the chat, by the way, as well. And over 700 of you in here. Make sure you subscribe and smash a like. Lee, obviously, we've got Leeds this week, and then we play the Benfica away game, then Man City, then Benfica, then Leicester. We've obviously heard now we're going to play the away leg in Italy and the home leg in Greece. So a lot of travelling between the Man City and the Leicester game. would you actually put weaker teams out in those Premier League games now to protect the players?
Well, you're going to have to.
You got to, aren't you?
You've got to. You know what I mean? We're actually at this moment in time now. We're actually looking. It don't matter what happens in the league. We're down to the Europa League is where we're. If we're going to get a Champions League, that's where we want to go. Now they've said that that's the aspirations of the football club getting back in the Champions League. So they're going to have to do that now. Whether they can is another thing. And all of this, now away legging. Where's the first leg in Rome?
First leg's in Rome, second leg in Greece.
You know, like it's very nice to send us over to Greece, isn't it? Like, I mean, for a home game.
Yeah.
So, you know, why can't for me? I think they perhaps should just do them over one legs. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, you know what I mean? I don't really know how all this is going to work. You know, one team, but so other teams are allowed to play in England, other teams are not. You know, and whatever you can be drawn out again, it's a bit of a worry.
Yeah.
But you know, listen, as I've always said, I always think that with the COVID and all the restrictions, the Europa League and the Champions League shouldn't have even been played. They should have abolished it this season. Like, you know, I mean, it's all about money, as we well know, and it becomes a little bit of a lottery now because you're not really at home anyway, and so you've got 2 games of football.
Yeah.
So it's a bit, and I suppose it's still a home and away leg's going to count. I take it, and
it is.
You know, and no teams at home and no teams away. It's ridiculous, you know. So I think it's a bit of a worry. And you're relying on that to get to Champions League, and I think that's a bit of a worry. Anything can happen out. It's a bit of a worry for me. That. Yeah.
What do you think looking ahead to that game against Benfica? I mean, they're fourth in the Portuguese league at the moment, 11 points off Sporting Lisbon, who are top. They've got the likes of Otamendi and Vertonghen, quite old. Do you think we're favourites going into that game, or are you still worried?
I don't see how Arsenal can be favourites for any game at the moment. You know, and this is true. I think when you look at things, you know, with the meat on the bone, with the performances that we've played, with the teams that we've played, you know, you look at Chelsea. We caught them at a good day when they was in a little bit of turmoil. Well, you look at Brighton now. I don't want to take on Brighton at this moment in time, you know. So we was lucky when we took them on. West Brom, I think, you know, most teams will beat them. So, you know, then you go on to Crystal Palace. I've watched Crystal Palace back 3 times in the last 3 or 4 games. I've seen them get smashed every game.
Yeah,
from us. So you know, and then you look at Aston Villa and Wolves. We haven't won those games. So there's. I don't really see why. You could think straight away, what's everybody's thinking that we're going to beat Benfica? Because I'm going to be really honest with you, Curtis. I've never watched them play this season, so you can only go on what form it is and what league it is, and you know Otamendi and Vertonghen, decent defenders in their day in the Premier League. So you know they're not going to be mugs. And I expect Benfica to be a little bit better than Wolves and a little bit better than Villa, if I'll be honest. And so, you know, we're going to have to be on our game and our best. And you just don't know with Arsenal. If the Arsenal turn up that we know that they can, they're capable of beating everybody. But if they end up playing like they have done the last few games, and what worries me about Arsenal is that there's players in our team that are capable of shooting themselves in the foot and making a massive mistake, and you see it quite often. And so, you know, you think to yourself, these players can they get themselves, I won't say up for the game, but like mentally, where they can't make mistakes, you know. So it'd be interesting. I
mean, do you know what? I was thinking, I mean, you've watched Arsenal for longer than me. I think I started watching Arsenal probably late George Graham times at Arsenal. So this, to me, what I'm seeing now is possibly the worst of Arsenal that I've ever seen in terms of, you know, the Wenger days and all that. Do Do you think Mikel Arteta is improving this Arsenal team? I mean, he's been here just over a year now. And I just struggle to see much improvements in the team or a real style of football. What do you think?
I really think, and this is a genuine fear, I'm not sitting on the fence or being a flip-flop or whatever. I'm just saying that. I think if you like Mikel Arteta and you want to back him, you can make a very, very good argument.
Yeah.
That there are things that have improved. Yeah. If you're a Mikel Arteta the other way, I think you can make arguments as well. You know, it is really a very, very thin line between success and failure at this moment in time. Yeah. I believe that there has been slight improvement, definitely in the defending side of things, because we haven't had any shots rained on us as much, and we do look like a better defensive unit, if I'll be honest. Yeah. But the league table tells a different story. And, you know, this is what amazes me about people when people turn around and say, league table doesn't lie. That's what it's all about. League table doesn't lie. And then all of a sudden, don't worry about the league table at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing to do with the league table. Well, it has.
Yeah.
And basically, my argument is at this moment in time, and with anybody in that, we're a process and worse. Were we any worse than Aston Villa last season? Were we in a worse state than Aston Villa last season? Was we in a worse state than West Ham last season? The answer to that question, Curtis, is no. West Ham have done exceptionally well with a lot less players than what we've got.
Yeah.
It's a fact. It's a fact. You know, they've got no forwards apart from Antonio, and there they are doing what they're doing. Aston Villa finished the league season last year 1 point above relegation. And look where they are now after one transfer window. So when people turn around and say, oh, you know, Arsenal should not be in this position that they're in. Simple as that. Now, agendas or whatever, that is a fact. Now, so I think that Mikel is certainly at fault for a lot of stuff. And I think that, you know, have we improved that much? I don't think we have. We've got rid of all the players that we've said that we needed to get rid of. So he now puts himself in a position where those players are gone.
Yeah, they are.
Windows happen. We're still losing games of football.
Yeah,
we're still losing. I think we've lost 3 games now since the transfer window shut out of 6. Drawn 1 and won 2. So not a massive difference, if I'll be honest. There's still the inconsistencies. There's still the Arsenal I don't trust to get a result.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, and I will have to say that, there's a lot of other teams not winning games. Look at Liverpool this season. You know what I mean? Like, you know, can't buy a win at home this time around, and other teams are losing week in, week out, and you know, what it seems to me is a team goes on a run for a few games and then loses a few. So there is circumstances why that's happening, but I tend to look at teams like West Ham, and I see, you know, I see organisation. I see a team being coached. I see a team with not better players than us doing better than us.
Yeah,
and it pains me. You know, if I'd be honest, why should these be doing better than us? So, and as you quite rightly say, Mikel Arteta's got the most expensive strike force in his disposal, so bloody will use it. So there's lots of things not quite right at Arsenal.
And that's the thing, and I think where my argument is, I mean, for example, you said Villa. You know, last year we finished 21 points ahead of Villa. Last season, 21 points. They signed Ollie Watkins from the Championship. They got Konza from the Championship. They didn't spend big money in the summer. All of a sudden, they're 5 points clear of us with 2 games in hand. Yeah. You know, you look at teams like West Ham as well. David Moyes. No Arsenal fan would have wanted Moyes as manager. I think they've got a couple of players who would get in our team, but our team is generally better than West Ham. So that's when I question, you know, people keep saying, oh, this is a unique season and everything's different. But when you look at the top of the league, Man City are top, United, Leicester, Liverpool, Chelsea is the top 5. They're all the usual suspects, really, who you would expect to be up there. So it might be different for us, but it isn't that different for everyone else if you look at it.
Exactly. And you have to look at a couple of things there, is that someone like Matty Cash at Villa. What's the signing he's been like? I mean, like, so you don't have to go in big and go into 50, 60 million pound players. There's players there. Do your job properly, scouting, looking at these players. You know what I mean? Because there's gems out there. But we've gone down another route, a lazy route. If you want to be honest about it, a lazy route that we've gone there. And then you look at as you say, like West Ham. What has David Moyes got? What Mikel Arteta hasn't got is experience. Experience. Would it? Yeah, and you're quite rightly so. Would I want him as manager? Probably not. But listen, there's a lot of West Ham fans that didn't want him, if I'll be honest. But now they're all chirping at the bit with him because what he's done is there's a structure and there's a way that they're playing. And you look at Villa. When people turn around and say, you can't make too many signings in the summer and all that. Well, they did. Made 4 or 5. And, and got themselves in a worse position than us into a better position than us now. And you look at Chelsea. 3 weeks ago, I think it was, we was above them or on the same points as them. They changed their manager. I think they're 6 points in front of us now.
Yeah, they've won 3 out of 3 since he's been in.
So we're languishing still where we are. So basically, it wasn't us improving, was it? It was the teams getting
worse.
Getting worse.
Yeah,
like Spurs over the last 5 games have been poor, and so it's not nothing that we've catching these teams. It's the other teams were dropping down. All of a sudden now they pick their games up. Yeah. Like Leeds, I think now are above us.
They are.
They are above us, aren't they? So it's a very, very difficult thing. People turn around and say, "Oh, we can still get in top 4. We're 9 points off top 4." Yeah, we might be 9 points off top 4, but Everton are behind. I'm thinking about 6. They've got 2 games in hand. If they win, it's more like 12. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you're kidding yourself. I know you've got to win those games in hand, but. Yeah. But also Arsenal got to win games. If you have a look at it, Leeds, Man City game in between those two.
Write that one off. Just write it off.
I mean, like send us your save the hotel bill and petrol. We'll give you the 3 points.
Turn up.
Yeah, that's a guaranteed win for them. Then rubbing their hands, Man City, and then if we get to the next round of that, in between that's the Spurs game. So, where are you going to get your points from in the next few games? Leicester, I think we've got Leicester away coming up. I think you mentioned there.
We haven't won there for, I think, 5-6 years since that Sanchez.
So some real difficult games. Now, these teams, like I watched Leicester get stuffed the other day at home and all that. Well, these teams, we need to be doing it ourselves, going to these game grounds and getting results. And we're not doing it, you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see where we finish at the end of the season. I think, if we're to end up in the top half of the table, that's not the top 4 or the top 6 or whatever. The top half.
Yeah.
We've got to start off by beating Leeds.
Yeah.
And this is what I've said about the players, you know what I mean? Like, I would have hated to have been in a team that didn't get into qualify for the Champions League after 15 years.
Yeah.
Now you're a team that doesn't get to qualify for the Europa League so how far are these players willing to drop their standards before someone says, "Oh, enough's enough with you"? It's embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing. This is the worst Arsenal team I've seen since the 80s.
Wow.
That is incredible. That is really incredible. The worst team before that, after that, would have been about 94, 95 when we ended up about 15th, 16th in the league. But that's when George Graham got sacked that year. So there was turmoil at the club when that happened, and also had a lot of injuries that season. But we still got to the Cup Winners' Cup final. Yeah, should have won it, but lost it. So as poor as that was, we still had something on the horizon. So we're not saying on the horizon with the Europa League, but this has been a poor sale. I think if I'm right, we lost to Sheffield United, who were in Division 1 at the time, or the Championship as they called it then. when we lost to them. You know, we had some bad times in that mid-90s. It was a poor team to watch as well. So we've had bad dark days at Arsenal. Of course we have. You know what I mean? Like same as any club. But this is the worst it's been for a very, very long while. And at the end of it, you've got a manager that's inexperienced leading the ship, and the players, you know, have got to take responsibility as well. Because, you know, if I was playing for Arsenal now, Curtis, I wouldn't be one of known being as, yeah, he played for Arsenal, but he was in one of the worst teams ever.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Wouldn't sit properly with me. So I think a few of them have got to pull up their old socks, if I'll be honest. And these mediocre performances have been allowed to continue. They've been allowed to continue because the manager keeps picking them as well. That's another point.
Yeah.
You know? So it'd be interesting to see the team sheet again on Sunday to see where we are. It'd be very, very interesting to see the one against Benfica, because that will be Mikel telling us if everybody's available, what his best 11 is.
I mean, even looking ahead to this weekend, they're saying that Thomas Partey and Tierney are back. I don't think I'd play either one of them. I think
no way do they play.
Just rest both.
You keep them wraps up in cotton wool now till the following Thursday.
Yeah,
you know, they play next Thursday. That's their first game. Train hard, play hard in training, but maybe be on the bench if things are going wrong. But I wouldn't even think that. I certainly wouldn't risk both of them for that game.
Do you think
Thursday?
Do you think more fingers should be pointed at the owners? Because again, the owners, they haven't really said anything all season. We didn't have a massive transfer window in the summer. I don't think we even spent 80 million in the summer when Chelsea just spent 220. Do you think more pressure should be pointed towards the ownership?
I think more pressure will come on them in the summer if they don't do the business. I really do, because they've making excuses. Their hands are tied for this, their hands are tied for that. Well, that's gone out the window now. I think you have to look at the board and at this moment just pull the reins in a little bit when you look at everybody else has not spent a lot of money in the January transfer window and things like that. So obviously the club is financially is restricted because of what's happened. And, you know, I think that you've got to understand that in life at the moment, that's the way it is. But come the summer, something's got to be done. You know, you cannot continue this slide. And if you was the owner and you've got billions of pounds in the bank, I think there's something, you know, you've got to just give it a little bit of a helping hand to the club. And if you don't, then I think the ball will come on there. But in saying that, you know, Kroenke could actually come out and say, well, I've backed you this whatever so many times. But the actual business model of Arsenal is shocking, the way we go about things. The money this club's lost through poor business in the transfer window is remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. All the money that us fans have spent, how much of that, Curtis, has been wasted by incompetence, laziness. I'm going to have to say that, laziness of transfer, you know what I mean, because they're not doing the hard yards, going and looking at players, going and looking at their attitude and all that. Like you talk to players in the past, when they were scouted, they was looking into all their aspects of life to make sure they'd be suited to Arsenal Football Club. I don't see that now when you see things like what's going on with Saliba at this moment in time, and not just him, by the way, but other players as well. There doesn't seem to be any justification or any accountability for the negligence and laziness of the transfer recruitment side of the club. And, you know, it has to be how any of them can walk in the door with a smile on their face and confident in what they're doing is beyond me, because it needs revamping. It needs old school people going in there and doing the hard yards, you know, watching games. You know, as you say, like when a club like Aston Villa can go and buy a player like Matty Cash out of the Championship and get him on the pitch, and I'm looking at him thinking, wow. And there's everybody going like, oh, we'll go and get Wan-Bissaka for 50 million. you know what I mean? Like, that's lazy coaching, recruitment, lazy scouting, you know, because there are players out there that you can save your money for. Now, I'm not saying that Wan-Bissaka is not a bad player and Man United are lazy and all that. They can afford to spend 50 million on a right back. You know, Manchester City can afford to waste 50 million pound because that's the way that they are. Arsenal can't afford to drop an hot dog. We can't afford it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, so we need to, you know, like, if they drop an hot dog, there's somebody there waiting with the bun at the bottom, like, you know what I mean, and the stairs, making sure that they got it to sell it. So when you can't afford to waste money, you know, you need to bring in little gems. Now, we brought in a few little gems, Martinelli and Gabriel and all that. So there's parts of that recruitment that are working well. But I'm talking about, you know, years ago, Curtis, you know, like you'd have someone like manager, and I'd go to you and say, right, I need a right back and a midfield player. Right, I'll go and get you. And, like, you know, someone there like, you know, George Graham or whatever will say, I've got one there, Nigel Winterburn at Wimbledon. He's going to do a job for us. Kevin Richardson in the midfield at Watford, you know, he's going to do a job for us. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not glamorous signings because they weren't like, you know, Nigel Winterburn Ho or anybody like that. It was just Nigel Winterburn, but they come in and done the job.
Yeah.
They do won titles, you know, so that's what I'm saying we need to be doing, like, you know, and we're not doing that, you know. We're signing players that with fancy names or whatever, and I'm down that road now where I'm not so keen on it. Like, you know, is there somebody in the Championship, for instance, that can do just as good a job as Ceballos?
Yeah, maybe.
Or Nenny. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying, you know. So you can, like, listen, El Nenny's been a great £5 million signing for us, so you can't knock that so much. But, you know, Mustafi, £30 million. Surely, you're not telling me there's no better central defender. I can name 5 or 6 that I've seen in the Championship and the lower reaches of the Premier League that were better than, you know. And, like, listen, I was one of them I have to feel guilty about when we was linked with Johnny Evans about that, like, you know, and but realistically, you know, Johnny Evans signed at the same time for Leicester as Mustafi did for Arsenal. Who's been the better buy?
Yeah, by far, Johnny Evans. Do you think there's a slight, though, snobbery among football fans? Football fans, they like the glamorous name from Europe, South America, and he's played for Barcelona in World Cups. Would our fans put up with, you know, Andy Robertson from Hull City or, you know, someone like that? Cash?
We would do if we was winning titles. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, you know, I do get that. You know, it is true. Football was changed. You know what I mean? It's a different game now. It's a different animal, as we know. And yeah, I think that. Listen, the biggest thing for me is, you know, and it's always been a little bit of a beef for me, was that, you know, Van Dijk was at Celtic, and people said, you know, no, we won't have him from Celtic. It's not a good enough league. You know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. He goes to Southampton, and now look at him now. You know, our best defender by a long, long way come from Celtic. So, you know, don't be afraid to look into those sort of teams. Yeah. Don't be afraid to look into the Championship and see that. You know, Vardy come from non-league. You know,
yeah, I've played against him twice.
Yeah, so there you go. So these, you know, these things can happen, and players can be got from wherever, like, you know. And I think that Arsenal fans, yeah, and quite rightly so, Curtis, we wanted the big World Cup winners and so on. When you're moving stadium and everything like that, and paying out the highest prices in the league. Of course, you want the top star players coming to your football club, but realistically, we know that we've been conned, so we're not going to have that. So that is a fact now. I've accepted that. You know what I mean? Like, say for instance, I don't know. Say Mbappe comes on the market this season. Whether we was at Highbury or where we are now, we ain't in the market for him. So what's the point of it? You know, any top player that comes up, Grealish comes on the market, oh, well, you know, we ain't getting him. Now, I can understand with the likes of Manchester City or Chelsea, we can't compete with them. I get that. But we can compete with every other club. And that includes Manchester United, because when you look at Manchester United, we competed with Manchester United when we was at Highbury and they had their massive Old Trafford stand. So when you can compete with them once, you should be able to compete with them again when you've got this bigger stadium and all that. So, but the fact of the matter is that we're not going to, and that's one we've never done it.
No.
I had a conversation with Graham Ricks a little while back, and back in the 80s, and he's what's your biggest regret at Arsenal? The biggest regret from Arsenal was that we allowed to let Liam Brady and Frank Stapleton go because the club didn't have the ambition to match them. And that's back in the 80s, you know what I mean? That happened. Now they went on and had great careers. I'm not saying that we would have been able to keep Liam Brady. He went off to Italy where the money was and all that. But you never know. We never offered him a contract to maybe think to himself, oh, I will stay at Arsenal, you know. So it's been happening since the 80s to now. Arsenal have always been a little bit tight, but like never really had the real ambition to dominate English football. And that comes from the top, not just from the management, not just from the fans. And there's an acceptance about that as well, Curtis, and it's been there forever.
Are we now, I mean, it's hard to say, but are we not as big a club as we kind of feel like we are as fans anymore? I know we've got this great history and support worldwide and stuff, but ultimately what your team is doing on the pitch has a lot of say in how big a club you are. Are we not in that top bracket anymore of football clubs? Have we been overtaken by certain clubs as well?
No. Listen, Manchester United were relegated in the mid-70s. They were still the biggest club in England. Manchester United never won the league for 25, 26 years. They were still the biggest club in England. Arsenal is a massive, massive football club. Always has been, always will be. Because it's not being successful doesn't mean to say it's not a big club. And that's the difference. Leeds United are a big club. Yeah. They've been in the Championship for so many years. You know, it's not about what things you're winning and whatever, like, you know what I mean? Manchester City will never be as a bigger club as Arsenal or Manchester United or Liverpool. Facts. Chelsea will never be as big. Will they be more successful? Yes, possibly so. But they'll never be as big as Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal Football Club is the biggest club in the South. Always has been, always will be. It's the biggest club in London. It's the biggest club in the Southeast, the South.
Yeah.
Now we've got an owner that hasn't got that mentality, you know, and that's the thing. And that will never change, Kurt. The club will never change that side of it. Like, you know, I mean, as I say, it's a big, big club, and you'll never change that. Football is about history. It's about the fans and everything like that. Now, what we're getting to at this stage now is, if I was a young kid now, if I'm going to choose what team I would support, I don't think it would be Arsenal. I don't think it would be Arsenal. You know, the glamour of a Chelsea winning trophies all the time, you know what I mean? This and that may see lots of kids start to go towards different teams.
Spot on.
That's a big worry. You know what I mean? So why we're neglecting being this big club through what we're doing, we're going to be losing it in 10, 15 years, you know? Now, listen, when I become an Arsenal fan, Arsenal weren't that great. They weren't a great side in the mid-70s. But there was things that made you want to become an Arsenal fan. The kit, the stadium, players. I don't care what anybody says, you know what I mean? Like, Liam Brady was a big reason why I supported Arsenal. Frank Stapleton, players like that were given So there's always a player you're drawn to. I don't care when you're a kid, you are drawn to a player.
Yeah.
What player at this moment in time would you be really drawn to as a kid at Arsenal? This is the problem. Yeah, exactly. You know, so we need to get down. We need to get these players back. You know, and that is a big problem for us. Like, you know.
Yeah. No, listen, you're spot on. I mean, look, I'm from Nottingham originally, and people say to me sometimes, "How come you support Arsenal?" And genuinely, when I used to watch them on the TV, I was like, there was just something different about me. I mean, Ian Wright was the player that made me want to support Arsenal. You know, as a young striker, I watched him and the charisma and the finishing ability. I love the kit as well. And like you said now, like young kids, I mean, even my son, I try and, I buy him Arsenal kits where he's like,
Yeah.
I really want to support Arsenal. And, you have to convince him to support them. You have to show him Thierry Henry on YouTube and that to try and convince
him. Exactly. And this is the thing. Like, if you was a kid growing up, like in that era, for instance, I wasn't in. I was older then, but like you'd have Patrick Vieira, Bergkamp, Henry. You had your choice of them, like Now another big thing for me, and I'll tell you this now, from being an Arsenal fan, was the cup finals in the 70s.
Yeah,
and the yellow and blue kit that they played in those things was iconic. And that was one of the main reasons that I supported Arsenal was the yellow and blue kit and things like because you're a kid. Like you're going on these things. Now they're chopping and changing the kits to different colours. There's no affinity towards a kit like it used to be. And I can see Arsenal fans losing a lot of fans through this, and this is my problem. And listen, success always breeds fans. I don't care what you say, whether you like it or not. You know what I mean? Like we've got a lot of Arsenal fans now follow Arsenal because of the Invincibles and the glory of Arsene Wenger years. But there's a lot of fans that have supported Arsenal for different reasons, and those reasons are being taken away. And those reasons now are why I think we're going to lose a lot of fans. But getting back to the question, we'll always be a big club, not having it any other way,
No, we're definitely a big club. Justa said, Lee, can you hit a bullseye at the end? I see your little dartboard.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm more of a 180 man, really,
Yeah. Go for that double 20, do you?
Yeah, I'll still 20s, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, crazy. And just talking about that quickly about Arsenal, I think the thing for me as a fan now, and I don't know how you feel about this, I don't think the club really connect as well with fans nowadays. I get to the point where I don't want to buy the new kits, and I don't I feel like they're ripping us off,
100%. I'll tell you something now, right? And this is no word of a lie, and I've been an Arsenal fan always been in awe of an Arsenal player.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we'll be able to talk to them or whatever, And I'll tell you this now, Curtis, right? I would walk across the M25 in rush hour to say hello to an Arsenal player of the past, Ian Wright, Paul Merson, Kevin Campbell, Liam Brady, like that. Like I wouldn't walk out past my garden if one of them walked past my house. Now I wouldn't bother getting out. In fact, I draw the curtains. That's how I feel about the actual players now. I wouldn't get off my sofa.
Yeah, it's true.
I've got no affinity towards any of them like I used to.
Yeah.
And that's when I say, like, I mean, if I was a young Arsenal fan now, would I support Arsenal? No, I wouldn't, because there's not one player that would draw me, and I think that's a big thing. Like the stadium. Highbury drew me to Arsenal. I had a choice of going Arsenal, Spurs, and White Hart Lane was a great, iconic stadium as well. But Highbury was a big thing for that. But like, honestly, it was the kit and things like that. But players, I would sit there now and I'd say, right, who am I going to support? Like, you know what I mean? And you'd be pushed to go, other teams, and dare I say it, down the road. You know what I mean? And dare I say it, up at Manchester City or even, Chelsea and teams like that, they've got glamour play. We haven't got that glamour player no more. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and that's a big problem for me. Big problem for me. I don't know. Do you know what? If I was a kid now, I'd say, do you know what, Dan? I think I'll go and play rugby or darts. There you go. Football wouldn't be on the agenda. I wouldn't be as passionate about Arsenal like I am now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then, Curtis, I'm going to say this now. I don't care what anybody says. This is not the same Arsenal Football Club as it was when I first started. So this is a different Arsenal. This is now not the Arsenal that I followed and fell in love with. This is a different Arsenal. And to be honest, it's not as nice as the other Arsenal.
Nowhere near. I mean, that guy's asking who my kids support. I mean, they're Arsenal, but they're not fully convinced.
They can be turned. You know what I
mean? They might come home and say, like one of my sons is talking about Man City and that, and I'm like,
of course they are. Chelsea and teams like my son don't follow Arsenal.
Do you remember when we was a kid and used to play football in the street, and when you'd shoot, you'd like say a name of a player that you loved?
Of course you would. Yeah.
Who are you going to say now at Arsenal? You can't say
exactly. You know what I mean? Like, in my era, like when I was growing up, we had, I can go through it all the times of playing. Well, first that Liam Brady and Frank Stableman were great players, but God. That I got taught and learned a lesson at a very early age because they both pissed off, you know what I mean, like and left the football club, and I got used to that through that. I went through then a couple of years after them with really like Vladimir Jukovic come along, like Vladimir Jukovic or something like that. And he was a big thing for us at Arsenal, and then Charlie Nicholas come along, and then all of a sudden it was something to really look forward to, Charlie Nicholas. And then in the George Graham era, you can go 5-6 players at Arsenal that you could, put your have that on your shirt with pride if that was the case, you know what I mean, like. And then going through someone's mentioned Malcolm McDonald. Yeah, Malcolm McDonald was an iconic player. You know what I mean? Like, great to see old fans in there, But but now there isn't those ones. You know what I mean? Charlie George was a massive favourite. My dad, always went on about George Armstrong as is the best player that ever played for Arsenal. Like you had one of my favourite players for Arsenal, believe it or not, going through like Ian Wright. I loved Ian Wright. Blah blah blah. Was Paul Merson because he done. Just off the cuff and things that were a little bit, and I've not had that no more. Like Fabregas was probably the last one that I could really say that I really liked, but another one that left. Yeah, you could feel. When you want to, even when I was playing, like semi-pro level, I tried to be like Patrick Vieira at times if I was playing midfield. I had it in my head. I wasn't gonna be, but I thought, do you know what I mean? Like, what am I going to have in my head if I was a kid now going out? I'm going to be Granit Xhaka. Oh no. You know what I mean?
Would you?
You know what I mean? Like, I'll tell you what. Matthew, like stars in her eyes. The smoke comes through. I'm going to be Mohamed El Neni today. You know what I mean? Come on. Yeah, I ain't gonna happen, is it?
On the stage, you'd just walk sideways the whole time, wouldn't you?
That's it, right? You know what I mean? So,
you know what? The last player that probably gave me that kind of excitement was Sanchez. He, I enjoyed watching him.
Yes,
he got me off my seat at the.
Got you off your seat, yeah. You could actually, go. I'm gonna be player like Alexis Sanchez on the pitch today, or try something like, I remember, you might think I'm still here, but playing on a Sunday morning, trying to do the Rocky David Rocastle step over or something like that, just to try and do something like it. Bloody well worked and all, Curtis. I left the man for dead. You know what I mean? Like, you think great, but you ain't gonna go and do the Granit Xhaka now, are you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, pass and fall over. You ain't gonna do it. You know what I mean? Like,
by the neck or give a penalty away. Do you know what I mean?
Someone said in there, Ray Parlour. Ray Parlour typifies everything about Arsenal in those great days because he wasn't the greatest player, but my God, he'd work hard. You can relate to that. Even when I play football, you can go and do whatever you want to be, like, you know, and be the best that you can be.
Yeah.
You know,
Do you know
like this player you can be.
This comment from Sire, I think, is a great comment. And in general, what direction are Arsenal Football Club going in? Because I think we all know now that this Premier League season is pretty much done for Arsenal. It's whether we can win the Europa League. I'm just at a point now with this manager where I want to see progression. I want to see a style of football and players improving and scoring goals. Are you worried as a fan about the direction of Arsenal? Because we can't ignore the fact that we're in the bottom half of the table in February.
100%. The direction of the football club is down at the moment. It's down, you know, because we settled for fourth. Where, you know, like aim for fourth, and then when you don't get fourth, you're going to get fifth. Then we was aiming for fifth. At this moment in time, we are going down. We're dropping. And we've got to somewhere stop the slide first before we can start progressing up. And I do think this, and I know this, you might think I'm silly here and whatever. I think under Mikel Arteta, he's put the anchor down, but it's still going along the sea at the moment. It's still not, you know, hit a rock or something to stop it for us to move on.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like we've not. It's not. It's the process has slowed down a little bit, but it's not happening yet. And we've got to, you know, the anchor has got to stop before we can go up again. Like, you know, and I do worry about the direction of the football club. I really do. I feel that it is a bit of a worry. It's we're on the slide. I don't care what anybody says. You know what I mean? That's through poor everything at the club. Poor managing, poor ownership, poor recruitment, poor players. All add them up together, it ain't good. We've got to change. We've got to change something. And first of all, we've got to stop the ship from sinking, and then build from there.
It's true, man. It's true, because I went on a show yesterday, and the guy who was on there said, "Oh yeah, but you know, we've got all these players out in January, and we're going to spend all this money in the summer." And I said, I don't think we will. I don't see Arsenal blowing the transfer market out the water in the summer and spending 150 million. We've had a whole season of no fans. We're in a pandemic. Kroenkes are not going to put huge amounts of money into the football club. They've just taken £120 million loan out to run the club. So unless Mikel Arteta sells 5 or 6 players in the summer for good money, you know, I don't think it will be a massive window. I think, as you said earlier, the recruitment has got to be right.
I think that, you know, exactly. But I don't, you know, it's all right saying, we're going to spend money. If the people ain't going to be buying either. So this is the problem, you know, selling players. You know, on this moment in time, as we sit here today, when could you say when we're going to get fans back in the stadium? I can't tell you that. No. I still don't think that, you know, it's not going to happen this season. I don't care what anybody says. We are not having fans back where I'm talking capacity stadiums this season. It's not going to happen this season. So this could be going on for 2, 3 seasons. You know what I mean? Now, when you look at it, Curtis, if it wasn't for the TV money, all these clubs would be going bust, and Arsenal would be one of them. Like, you know what I mean? So I think that what we need to do is actually. If it's to say the TV money was to go, I think the fact they'd have to have fans back in, because the clubs wouldn't survive. I don't really know what's going to happen, like, you know. So it's a big worry, I think, for the future of football. When fans are going to get back in, is it ever going to be the same? And these are problems that are just there at the moment. So you've got an owner that don't want to spend money in the first place. He's going to go, I'll tell you what, I'll spend 200 million like for this time, when, you know, you don't know what's going to go on. They use it as a lovely, I'm not saying it's an excuse, but he's going to go, I'll hold fire on this at the moment, you know what I mean? And to be honest, you can't blame him. Can't blame him for that. But that's what's going to happen, I think.
I mean, last season, I think, was what I'm pretty sure that, did they say that was our lowest place finish in the Premier League, 8th last season?
I think it was to 94, 95. I think, you know, so yeah. So
that was 10 defeats last season, and we've lost 10 games now by the start of February. I mean, you would expect us to lose a few more, being honest, if you look at the City game and games like that. Well, I mean, What do you make? I mean, people saying we're defending better. Why do you think we're losing that many games if we're defending better?
Well, because we don't take our chances when it matters. Also, like stupid disciplinary things from players and all that. You know, like I'll tell you something now, right? Leno will be back in goal on Sunday, right? You can think that's right or you can think that's wrong, right? He's had a good game. He's been playing well for us lately.
Yeah.
Right? Matt Ryan had a very, very good game on Saturday. Yeah. The reason Matt Ryan's in is because of Leno's stupidity.
Yeah.
Now, if he wasn't to get back in the team for 5 or 6 games, do you think he'd do that stupid thing again?
No, he wouldn't.
So
he wouldn't play him on.
So basically, he's done a stupid thing. He walked straight back in the side. You know, like when I played and when you played, you know, I never wanted to miss a game because I wasn't good enough to be out of a game, and I might not get my place back. You know what I mean? So I wasn't going to do nothing stupid. You know what I mean? I'll get 5 bookings or something. You know, I hope the manager would say, well, he took a few for the team, might get back in the team.
Yeah.
But if I'd done something stupid and the fella come in and played well, I know that I know he's going to get into the team. But Leno knows that he's done something stupid. And realistically, if that would be me, I'd say, like, you know, well, you've done something stupid. You've let him in.
So you're at the team until he.
But that won't happen. I'm not having a dig at Leno. I'm not having a dig at Leno here, like. But you can go on to David Luiz. David Luiz has given away 3 penalties, 3 sending offs. He's straight back in the team straight the following week. Now, a bit harsh on the last one, and maybe on the one of them. But he's not learning his lesson. Why is he not learning his lesson? Because he's straight back in the team.
And he can get away with it. Yeah.
Get away with it. And these things that happen, like, you know.
Yeah. Over 1,000 people in here. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe.
Oh, no one working. What's going on?
Everyone's off, man. Everyone's off. Before you get out of here, I wanted to just do this with you. I wanted you to say here, because people are saying Arteta doesn't know his best team. So we're going to pick the team. And we're picking the team. This is just in general, like not for a particular game. So we would have probably Leno in goal, right? Would you?
Like, no, I wouldn't for this game. I wouldn't for that reason.
Matt Ryan, but overall, if we was...
I see why. But for that reason, I wouldn't have Leno in goal. You know, what did Matt Ryan do wrong? He done nothing.
He had a good game, very, very good. In man of the match, probably won it.
Yeah, but I would. But I go with it. You got to go with that. Like Leno goes in goal.
Yeah, assuming this was like the Europa League final, then
Yeah.
What would your centre-back pairing be? Because a lot of people are saying, Holding, Gabriel. I don't think Gabriel and Holding play well together.
David Luiz and Gabriel for me.
Would you?
Yeah.
See, I'm surprised you said David Luiz. I thought you might have said Pablo Mari.
Ideally, I would have. Do you know what? I would go. I know you might think this is silly, but I'd go Mari, and if I had the real choice, I'd go Mari and Gabriel. That would be my 2. But I think that he wouldn't go that route. I think that if you play David Luiz and Holding, that's a better partnership because like that Holding plays better with an experienced player.
Yeah.
And I think the same with Gabriel. I think people are sort of forgetting that he's still only 22 and still learning his trade. So you do need someone alongside with a bit of experience. But I've been very, very impressed with Mari since he's come back. But I think that'll be the. I'll be very surprised if Luiz isn't playing. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think what.
No, but remember, we're picking it. Forget Arteta.
So for me, if I go, all right, I'll be honest. I'll go Gabriel and Mari would be my 2.
Yeah. I mean, some people say, can you play 2 left footers at centre back? Do you think would that bother you? I mean,
Tony Adams, Martin Keown, our 2 of our best central defenders, both right-footed. No one that says, one had to be right and one had to be left. Tony Adams sort of played to the left because he could use his left foot. But I don't see it as a problem. You know what I mean? You play two right-footed players at central defence. You know what I mean? I don't see why we couldn't do that. It's not ideal. It's not ideal.
Yeah. Who would be your right back?
Cedric.
I think that's a simple one. I don't think anyone would pick Hector Bellerin, would they?
No, well, Mikel does.
Well, apart from, I think it's his stepson, I reckon.
Well, I think there's something going on. He's like love child or something like that. So, apparently he did loads of him or something, didn't he?
He did loads of him when he moved over here, yeah. Would you sell him?
In his car every Sunday. He still comes round and cleans his car every Sunday.
Yeah,
so
I reckon he did. Would you sell him in the summer, Hector Bellerin?
Yeah, if we get good money for him, I would do. I think we need to improve on that. I think we need to improve on Bellerin. It's not having a dig at Bellerin. Somebody with a more end product. If you're going to play the way we're playing with the fullbacks, high energy going up, they need to have better distribution. And that's if you're not going to play with that, you're going to play a different way. Then Hector Bellerin is a good fullback.
Yeah,
but he's not the fullback we want for the sort of what it seems to me the way that we want to play.
That's got to be. I mean, you've probably seen more captains than me. I mean, Hector Bellerin as Arsenal captain.
Captain's a thing of the past. Finished the football now, I mean, gone are the days where it was iconic. Tony Adams, you can go on to that. My first captain at Arsenal was Pat Rice when I first started following Arsenal. You know, and look what he's done at the football club. So he was the first one. Yeah. Then who come along then? Kenny Sampson, I know, was a captain. I'll probably miss one out before then. Yeah. But then, Frank McClintock before Pat Rice. But I don't really remember Frank McClintock, if I be honest. In the 80s, it was... Who was it, the 80s? I think David O'Leary had a little spell there. Yeah. Captain, not really a big captain along come Tony Adams then, went for a very, very long while.
Yeah.
I'd probably
now Hector.
Yeah, and then I'd probably say that Fabregas was more of a
with what he did on the pitch.
What he did on the pitch more than being a leader, and then the rest of them, we've had William Gallas, we've had
Van Persie, Henry.
Van Persie probably, if I'll be honest, was again another one through his play.
Yeah.
Henry was never a captain, if I'll be honest. Never a captain.
Whoever was our best player got the arm.
Yeah, just and then it's getting thrown around like confetti.
It
was an honour.
It was an honour. Now it just gets passed around, don't it?
Yeah, it was honour. Even in my day, you know what I mean. If I was asked to be captain, it was an honour.
It was, yeah. Even myself,
and to lead the team out and all that was an honour. And but I don't think it is now. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Like, I mean, who wants to be captain? Yeah, I'll have it today. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You put your hand up first, Hector. Well done. You get it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, we've had 5 captains under, didn't we? There was 5. I think we can agree Tierney's at left back.
Yeah, Tierney's a left back. Yeah,
simple one. Obviously into the midfield. I've just picked the formation what he plays. So So Thomas Partey will be one of them.
Yeah.
Who would you play with him? We haven't seen him with Ceballos yet.
I'd like to see that. I would actually like to see Thomas Partey and Ceballos together to see what it's like. As you quite right said, because at the end of the day, and I'm going to go with that now, because we've seen Xhaka improve with Partey. So could Ceballos improve? So I would actually like to see Ceballos play in that role. So Ceballos and Partey, I'm going to go with that.
I don't mind that because I just think he's a better ball player. And I feel like even these injuries, what Partey's getting could be to do with the amount of running he has to do next.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. You know what I mean? Even though Xhaka has been our best player over the last few games, I would say that. But I just want to have a little look at that, This is an interesting one. Who'd you go, Undergaard or Smith Rowe?
Bro, this is hard because see, a lot of this to me has got to do with, is Odegaard available to be bought at the end of this deal? If Real Madrid have sort of said, well, you can have him for 6 months, then send him back, I'm not that bothered about playing him. But
no, nor am I.
You can sign him if there's
like what I see of him the other day.
He did look good.
I'm going to go. Oh, that's a difficult one, this one.
It is a tough one.
Part
I
of me
think
now
Smith
thinking
Rowe will
about
have to
Lingard
take-
and maybe Smith Rowe instead of Ceballos.
I don't know if Smith Rowe can play that middle of the park role though.
I think I'm gonna go with Smith Rowe. I think he's done well enough in the last 3 or 4 games to justify me playing him.
Yeah, he'll be happy with that. I don't mind that. I don't mind that, to be honest. He's had some good games. He was brilliant against Chelsea as well. This front three is interesting because there's a lot of options.
Well, I know what I'm going with.
I think I know 2 of the players you're going to pick. I'm not sure about the third one. On the right, are we agreed on Saka?
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets tricky after this. This is where it can get tricky.
But do you know I'm going for Pepe on the left.
You're going for Pepe on the left, yeah?
I think that he's done enough in the last 3 or 4 games to prove that this could be the position for him. Scored a couple of goals, deserved a little chance. So he's going up there. And up front, I'm going Martinelli.
See, I had a feeling you was going to do that because I heard you say earlier that Martinelli would be in your team.
Yeah, he gets in my team.
And Aubameyang on the bench.
Yeah. Do you think Aubameyang deserves to be in the team at this moment in time?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't. But it's just, I'm still dreaming about the chip against Chelsea in the cup final.
You want to get Aubameyang, if you was to get Aubameyang in, if you want Aubameyang in, right, I'm happy to go there and put Martinelli on the left and drop Pepe. I'm happy to do that.
See, I think I feel worse doing that because I think Pepe deserves to play. I'll go with it. I'll go with it because I can see the pressing from the front. I just think, no, I don't mind it. It's an energetic front three. I don't mind that. I don't mind.
It's also the future.
It is the future.
You know what I mean? Like that could be, Aubameyang's not going to be here. Lacazette's not going to be here. That, is for me where I will go. I'd give it a go.
I think that's a decent team. Like, look, Martinelli's not going to give you 90 minutes every week. He'll have them games. But if you had Lacazette, Aubameyang, Odegaard, all them.
Could you actually put Odegaard in place of Pepe? Try and get him in that way. Listen, people will say like drop Pepe, and I'll get along with it. I'll go along with what you're saying. But I just feel if you spent £72 million on a player, you've got to give him a go. You've got to say, right, I'm giving you 5-6 games, see what you can do. He's had 4 games at the minute. He's had 3 good games, 1 piss poor game. So for me, he's got. I think you've got to give him a couple of more games, like, you know what I mean. So that would be the only thing that I would do it. If listen, if we spent 20 million on him, he would be out.
Yeah,
but it's that fact that we've spent all this money on him. That's what we go for, And the reason that people are saying like, about Lacazette, doesn't score enough goals for me. Lacazette
doesn't. Not when you've paid.
As I said earlier on, I love his industry. I love his. I love he's all what he does for Arsenal, but he's just not good enough.
No. I mean, just quickly, obviously, Lacazette has got a year left in the summer. This was one of the titles for the show, actually. Arteta has been talking about him maybe getting a new deal. 1 year left, 150 grand a week, turns 30 this summer. What would you do with Lacazette this summer?
Well, I would sell him. I'd sell him and Eddie straight away to fund another striker. But that's what I would do. We've got to find someone that's going to be up front and whatever. Like, and we're saying, I'm not saying Martinelli is going to be the answer up there, but as we spoke earlier on, Vardy doesn't hold up the ball that very, very well. But look at what he does. So.
Yeah,
like the tenaciousness of Martinelli is something that I think with Martinelli, somewhere we've got to get him in the side. He's 19, 20 years of age, and I think we've got to get him in the side. So, if it's on the left, I'm happy with that. But that's how I see it. You know what I mean? But for me, Lacazette has been a great servant for the club, but he's 30, 31 now. I feel that you've got to you've got to spend some money on another striker. So we've got to try and get some funds from somewhere. So football's a ruthless business, Curtis, as you well know. So that'll be it for me.
No, I agree. I mean, Lacazette, 3 years at the club, 14 goals, 13 goals, 10 goals. So that's not a £50 million striker's numbers, is it?
No, that's nothing against him or whatever. Too many chances are being missed. Too many wrong decisions are being made from those front guys. So, let's see what a few youngsters can do in there. The energy of it all. So let's see what happens. Listen, that front three,
I like
it. At the moment, it's got potential. What can it be like in 2 years' time? We've had Smith Rowe into that. That's a front four for 5 or 6 years.
Yeah,
it can improve. So listen, we're in a position. Listen, he can't do no worse than what he's doing at the moment when we're not scoring goals.
There's a few names being banded around there to replace him. I do like Calvert-Lewin. I think he'd be too
excellent player.
He'd be expensive though, wouldn't he, from Everton?
Expensive. And look what he was like over the last year or so. People were criticising him. Now all of a sudden, bosh, he's gonna. This is what can happen to the likes of Martinelli and Pepe and people like that. You don't know, but you ain't going to know unless you give them time. But I can tell you this now: Lacazette and Aubameyang are only going one way. That's down. That's a harsh reality, but that's a fact. They're not going to get any better than what they are now. But Martinelli can get a lot better. Saka can get a lot better. Smith Rowe can get a lot better, and hopefully Pepe can.
Guendouzi and Torreira out on loan. Rumours going around about them both. What would you do with those two in the summer?
Sell Torreira.
Yeah.
Because as much as he was a half-decent player for us, Premier League doesn't suit him.
Yeah.
The way we play. So that's that for me. Not big enough, not strong enough. Guendouzi, if I get a good offer for him, I'd get rid of him. But I do like what I see with him at times. So, and he's only young, but it's certainly better than El Neni and will improve our squad at this moment in time, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I think if I always say with Guendouzi, if his attitude has changed, I mean, he's just about to become a dad. Any dad knows that having a kid matures you a lot. Having a year in Germany. If his attitudes improve, maybe he can come back. I wouldn't mind having Guendouzi in the squad. He's 21. He's a French international.
Yeah, that's right. See, exactly.
So, I wouldn't mind keeping him. What's your prediction for the Leeds game?
Do you know what? I'm going to say this now. I think that with Leeds and the way they play will suit us because they won't come down and put banks of 4-on-4 and we'll find it hard. They go at us, that'll leave them open at the back and we can exploit that. And that is where we haven't got to make decisions so much. Yeah. And I think that will play into our hands. So I think we'll score a few goals. I think it'll be 3-1, 3-2 to Arsenal. Yeah.
I mean, they've scored 11 goals more than us, but they've conceded 14 goals more. So play like rock and roll football, don't they? So I do think it will suit us. I think we'll beat them as well, to be honest. Let's hope so. Over 1,100 of you in here. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like. Lee, really appreciate you coming on, bro. Lovely.
No problems. Love it like that way. So thanks for having us on and good luck to everybody in the chat. Been a good chat, as Edmonds. Like some good comments in there, like
yeah, they behave yourself. So remember, get that get that copyrighted, bro. I'm telling you, you can make money off that, bro.
You can make money off it like that way. So yeah.
No, I appreciate you. Yeah, man, I'll be your agent. No worries. Big up everyone in the chat. I'll be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Kevin Campbell's on here as well. So,
Mikel's friend.
Yeah, Mikel's good friend. I'm going to be putting him under pressure tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll put him under a bit of pressure.
Yeah, no worries. See you all tomorrow, everyone. Big up, Lee. Thank you for coming on, bro.
No problems. Cheers, mate.